Lynn Benton Tractor's Newsmakers, presented by Les Schwab Tires, continues exclusively on 1430 KYKN. Salem is listening.
This segment of Newsmakers is proudly brought to you by Sylvan Learning Center. Welcome back to your Newsmakers. I'm Dave Bourne. Along with me, Denise Quinn.
And another Wednesday is almost in the can here.
I know, it's flying by.
It is flying by. But before we do close out this Wednesday, we have a very special guest in the studio. We've got Brandon from Advantage Heating and Air Conditioning. Brandon, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. It's nice to meet you, Denise.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. First time talking with you.
Yeah.
Wow, I can't believe you haven't met her before. That's kind of strange.
Well, no, we've remedied that. We're old friends now. We're
Right.
good.
That's
We're
right.
good.
All right, so Brandon, tell us some of the things that Advantage Heating and Air Conditioning is doing right now for the fall. Around the community. I know that you guys do like food drives and things like that. What do you got going on now?
We do. So we're actually gearing up to do our next system give back. I know we've talked about that a couple of times.
Okay.
We've fallen a little bit behind just because summer got so crazy, between the heat wave, supply chain issues and all of that. We decided this year to try and do it once a quarter, and it's by the time we got to quarter three, everything was pushed back. So
Sure.
But we're gearing up to do another one of those, which has always been super fun. We find someone who's purchased a smart system, full system from us, and we put a random names in a drawing. We go and we deliver them a check for the full amount that they paid. It's been everything from about $9,500 to almost $13,000.
Wow.
And that's really cool because it's one thing to, say do a drawing to give someone a free system, but when someone's already paid for it, there's no expectation of it. Most people still, even though we mentioned it several times, still don't know that we're even doing that.
Yeah.
And so to show up at their doorstep, they know we're coming, but they have no idea why. We have to find little ways to lie to them to trick them. But
I love that.
we show up with a huge check, and so the surprise and the shock and the awe and the emotion that comes out is really awesome and really neat. So we got that coming up. I know that we'll be going into the holidays. I know we'll probably be doing the toy drive and stuff like that we typically do. And right now we're just trying to get people prepped for winter.
So you mentioned in your opening comments supply chain issues.
Yeah.
And so if you like you said, prepping for winter, getting our furnaces and our systems ready for winter, how's that affecting you guys?
It's been, quite frankly, it's been a nightmare.
Really?
I mean, we are fortunate that we have grown so much over the last few years, and thank you, Salem, by the way. The support's been amazing to our family and our family business. But we've gained a lot of leverage with suppliers, and so we've been able to be first choice for getting equipment a lot of the time, and that's helped us serve our clients significantly better, but it's definitely not perfect. A lot of people have seen articles and pictures of the ships that are off the coast of California, and I mean, there's been a ton of ductless units in particular that are on board those ships. We had clients waiting 6, 8, 9 weeks just to get installations completed, and then you have the miscellaneous materials. You may have pretty much everything you need, but you're missing one or two things. You really can't complete the job. So what we've done, we actually cleared out a whole warehouse that we were renting out as an outbuilding to somebody else. We unfortunately had to evict them, and we're now stocking as much equipment as we can because we're thinking, and the industry is assuming we're going to be 12 to 18 months of difficulty regularly getting equipment, supplies, and parts, and it's going to be challenging no matter what we do.
So regular maintenance would be on top of mind right now.
Yeah, keep your system healthy, running properly, and performing as best it can. Just because it's functioning doesn't mean it's truly performing. And usually that's where people get into a little bit of trouble. Winter hits, ice storm, something like that. It's working overtime and it dies. What was working fine before? Yeah, but it really wasn't performing properly. And we can catch a lot of those things, fix a lot of those things, or prevent a lot of those things during a maintenance.
You don't want to be out of sight, out of mind with that. And there's a lot homeowners can do too in between to make that better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we say it all the time, and it seems so simple, but even just something as simple as regular filter changes. Your system can't breathe if it's got a plugged filter, but the motor and everything doesn't know that, so it's just going to work and work and work to pull the air through, and that's probably the simplest thing that you can do. There's other things that you can do as well, but then you start getting into things that a lot of homeowners may or may not care to learn to do.
It's intimidating, maybe, perhaps.
Right, yeah.
I don't want to break it.
Right, exactly. I don't want to open it up.
Right.
Yeah. So a regular, I try and do the filter change at least every 6 months. The main seasons would be from your perspective?
Spring and fall is when we do our maintenances for our clients, because then you kind of prep for the season to come. And as long as you have a 4-inch pleated filter that is designed to last 6 to 12 months, you're okay just doing it in the off seasons for most homes. If you've got some of those 1-inch paper filters or something a little simpler, more basic like that, I've been in some homes where realistically every 30 days or so is really when it should be done.
Wow.
If you look at it and there's clearly a film over the top of it, whether it's dust, dirt, pet dander, what have you, it's been time to get changed already. And most of those filters at this point are so, little paper filters are so cheap.
If you can get them?
If you can get them. And I mean, that's a challenge too, right? I mean, and we've fortunately been able to keep most of our clients satisfied, but you go through something like when we had the fires last year.
Yeah.
And that was a big issue. We were running out of filters like crazy. And now with supply chain where it's at, who knows? Hopefully we don't.
It just seems like if it's not one thing, it's another. And then we had record heat waves this summer, and then we had the ice storm, and then we had the fires, and then what's next? It's locusts. How do your systems do with locusts?
Well, all that to say, Denise, we've been super busy, right? I mean, this has been 12 months of HVAC related catastrophes almost.
Yeah.
So, I can't really speak to the locusts, but if it comes to a heat wave, ice storm, or smoke, we got you covered.
Okay, good. Well,
after the smoke, definitely change those filters.
Yeah.
The smoke was crazy. I know people were doing things with fans and making up, little homemade filters and things like that.
Odds are those aren't going to be super effective.
Makes you feel like you're doing something,
yes.
maybe?
Yeah, it maybe will give you a touch of peace of mind, but in reality, a lot of the really harmful particles are pretty small, and just taping a paper filter to the back of a fan's really not doing a whole lot. What really can be helpful is if you have an actual indoor air quality system, and you can get things with higher MERV ratings, UV lights, HEPA filtration. Those kind of things will actually be effective. Both scientifically and just through anecdotal evidence, us using them, clients using them, and the difference in how people felt when the smoke was really bad last year.
Yeah. Well, we're all kind of getting into the season where we're going to be sort of hermetically sealed in our houses now. So
right.
What are some things to look out for homeowners to be aware of? We've got detectors of this, that, and the other in our house.
Yeah. So the one that's really popping up right now, just because we are out doing the maintenances, we're making sure people's systems are safe and performing for the winter to come, is carbon monoxide leaks.
Ooh.
And it can be really scary, right?
Yeah.
And so it's kind of interesting because there are acceptable levels of carbon monoxide. But either way, it's a poisonous gas. And it's your detector may or may not alert you before there's something that could be health hazardous. So when we're going out to systems right now, one of the things that we always check is it's called a heat exchanger, and the burners fire through that, the fumes run through that, and if there's a crack, which can happen over time, or maybe there's water damage, it produced rust, something like that, those fumes don't end up getting drawn through the heat exchanger. When the air blows over it, it can draw those fumes into the ductwork and gets in the house. And at a certain point, certain parts per million, your smoke detector will go off. It's like 30 or 40 parts per million for most. However, by the time you get to 6, 8, 9, 20 parts per million, there's already things that could be affecting your health. I think it was World Health Organization recommends if you have 9 parts per million or more, you're not in that building for more than 8 hours at a time and only so many times per year. But the detector may not go off till 20, 30, or 40.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so when we bring those kind of things up, it's not to scare anybody, but it really, it is sort of an alarming thing. And at 9 parts per million, we actually disable the furnace. So we shut it off at the breaker. Obviously, you can turn it back on. It's your home. You do what you'd like to do. But we are finding those things. And that's one thing that a maintenance really is helpful for, is we can go out and make sure not only is it performing, but make sure that it's actually safe. You get 15, 20 years of a gas furnace, and there are some things like that can cause it to be unsafe.
Good to know.
Very good to know.
I'm going to have to go home and check it now.
It makes me want to go change my filters and kind of do a checkup on everything.
Right?
Yeah. Running with clogged filters will actually crack a heat exchanger more quickly. And so, I mean...
Another great tip.
Yep.
Brandon's just full of them today.
Super good information, Brandon.
Super good.
I had a lot of coffee, so I'm just going.
Oh, nice. All right. AdvantageHeatingandAir.com, right? Or is
AdvantageHeatingLLC.com.
Hey,
we'll link that up in show notes, so we don't have to remember the LLC.
Brandon Sommers, thank you for coming in.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks for the great tips.
Absolutely. It's nice to meet you, Denise.
Yeah, you too.
You've been listening to Wednesday. I'm Dave Bourne.
I'm Denise.
And this is Newsmakers. Have a great day.
Have a great day.